markets and, what do you get out of it? And I said, no, I don't sell markets. I don't sell securities. I don't do that anymore. I did that years ago. In fact, that's how I started in my career. Jeremiah did as well. We had our what's known as your Series 7, which you can get through testing. You've got to take the exams. Ultimately, the SEC is what creates all of this. But FINRA, which is a self-regulatory organization, used to represent the actual exchanges. And the exchanges is where people would go to invest or divest themselves of investments themselves. So the exchanges became a self-regulatory organization. It was separated by the NASDAQ and the NASD, for those of you that remember those, because it was a combination of the New York Stock Exchange, American Stock Exchange, Pacific Stock Exchange. They all got together and they had to monitor the people who sold investments that earned commissions, where the advice that they were giving was probably beneficial to them because of the commission. So that clouded view when there's a commission in between is a conflict, in my opinion. And so as an advisor, we give fiduciary level advice. And we do that right here on the program. And what you're not going to find a lot of times on weekends, especially where we're talking about current events and investments and things like that, is you're not going to find too many live programs. But the Real Money Pros is live. Jeremiah Bates, you're there. You're alive.
I am.
And live. We're glad you're alive after your bout of flu, by the way.
Our whole household felt like dominoes. I mean, it's that time of year. But I got to tell you, I haven't been that sick probably in 15 years. I mean,
it's one of those good ones.
It was just one of those ones where it's just kind of like a fever hallucination for like 2 days, 3 days. You don't know what's up, left, right, or down. And then the rest of the family falls like dominoes. And yeah, it was enjoyable, but hey, you just got to get on the other end of it. We're here and we carry on.
It's like a fortitude check. So if you went to a doctor and the doctor said, hey, Jeremiah, what you need to do is you got to buy this supplement, these herbs and all these other things, and you're there at the doctor because you're trusting that the doctor is going to give you fiduciary level advice on your health, which they have taken the oath to do, which is to do no harm, and they're there for you and you're under that perception. You walk out and then let's imagine the receptionist then gets up and says, I can get you a cup of coffee and would you like to shop in our little store, opens up the doors, and there you are. It's everything you talked about. You have to wonder, was the advice conflicted? Now, it's been my opinion, it's been the opinion of many regulators and, of course, people who then sue advisors at some point to maybe not distinguish the line between a commission and a fee. A fee can only be charged by a licensed advisor to give financial advice. And that fee must also be connected to the fiduciary level advice. So as a fiduciary, it's a lot different than trying to fit some sort of a standard like suitability. Suitability is where, from a time horizon or risk tolerance or their investor experience, that everything fits, it's okay. So in this case, I'm going to choose that one. And then that one might just be the one that paid me the most out of the 10 that fit the suitability standard. But yet now we got the fiduciary standard, which is there's only one. Only one investment is actually in the best interest of the client, which means you choose that one. It might have the one that doesn't pay a commission, or it could be the one with the lowest fees and no commission, and it's beneficial to the client because it still serves all of the objectives to fit the advice that you gave, which means you can't get paid out of it, and you can't double dip. You're either going to charge the client a fee or you're going to get a commission, and you as a client need to know. You should be empowered right now. You get to ask, how do you get compensated? What level of advice are you being bound to? Because if you're paying for fiduciary level advice and something goes awry, well, then you should have expected that the advisor took all of the steps necessary to give you that fiduciary level advice, which might be research, reaching out to a team, looking out into a larger group, because things get complicated. Jeremiah, you know this, the larger net worths people get, the more politics that are going on, which we're going to be talking about, all of the politicking, Greenland, all of that here on the program, plus take your phone calls at 979-59-MONEY. But when things get complicated, well, then we always know somebody, some other advisor that has taken that type of case in the past and already had to go through the learning process, so the client doesn't end up having to pay an extra fee for research when we already had an expert standing by. Well, I've been broadcasting now for 25 years, and for more than 20 of those, I think right around 20 of those, it's only been on the fiduciary level, meaning I dropped my Series 7. I don't have my insurance license, but I give advice, and I give fiduciary level advice here on the program, and so does Jeremiah. Here we are now 20 years later, and this is all we do, is we will give you that level of advice. We've got a deep level of team members around the entire nation that are associated with us, with the Real Money Pros and Apollon Wealth Management. We are a team. We have actually, which is kind of crazy, we have advisors that seem to be specialists in really rare things like a Delaware Statutory Trust, a DST. And they are experts in it. We have advisors to reach out to that are experts in dealing with unions and union pay packages and things like that. We have experts that only focus on Social Security benefits. That deep level is what we offer to you right here on the Real Money Pros. And if you want to learn more about us, please go to our website. It's interactive. We've got tools there that are for your use, therealmoneypros.com. I'm sorry for the really long intro, but I want to make sure that people know where you're getting your advice from, because my friend just 2 weeks ago was telling me how XRP, this crypto digital asset, was going to go through the roof and to the moon on the 1st of January. He's been telling me this for weeks. And I, could be very vocal about it, and I probably should be, because I've been doing radio for 25 years, and I'm an actual licensed and currently in good standing, all that stuff, financial advisor, and I just had no comment. He's like, XRP, you got to put everything into it. And I said, what's the news? Like, what is it? And he's telling me how it's going to become the new standard. It's being adopted because it's the fastest and all these things, and it's got the Ripple part of it. And I hear all of these things, and I go do my research, and I can't find anything that said that January 1 was the date, except for certain YouTube personalities. So these are opinions, and I asked him, I said, what's in it for the people delivering the message? He goes, nothing. They want you to buy XRP because they want you to do well. And I said, no, they're selling something, even if their hyperbole is what they're selling. Like, there is something in it for them. No, there's not. All right, well, January 1 is now since passed. XRP did not go to the moon. And I asked him the other day, so what happened? He says, well, it's just probably a delay thing. And I said, but where are the people that were espousing those views, and do you still watch them and follow? Oh, yeah, I follow them. Meaning they came up with reasons, which are actually probably excuses, of why what they said to try to create some sort of a GameStop effect. It didn't occur. The crowd wasn't big enough. He didn't. That YouTube guy didn't have enough followers to actually manipulate the results in XRP. That's, in fact, what happened, because the news about it popping was made up. And sometimes the short money wants to get in there. They want to see some meteoric rise in some sort of price, and then they're going to bail out. We do not give you that advice here on this program. I want you're 55 years old, you're thinking about retirement, you can't really figure out how you're going to supplement, let's say, healthcare coverage. You call this program. You're 70 years old, and you're trying to figure out what to do with RMDs from a recent inheritance, and you're already taking yours with your IRA and coordinating with Social Security. We want your call. We want the person who is trying to figure out what it takes really to put their kids through college. I happen to know exactly how much it costs to put your child through college, because my son just graduated last month, and I know exactly the cost for the last 5 years. It's expensive, and it should be thought about before you have a child or plan to have a child. 979-59-MONEY. Phone lines are open. Let's talk about, oh boy. Do you want to talk about Greenland? You want to talk about Venezuela, oil? Do you want to talk about markets, Jeremiah?
I think those all kind of intersect to some extent when you talk about the geopolitical uncertainty that is it just seems to be exacerbated especially over the past week, 2 weeks. And it's one of those things where you look at the market reaction and you could argue that it was relatively muted, right? And then I'm kind of looking at this, I'm like, is this more of like a standard playbook? Has this type of rhetoric or this type of communication, is the market just taking it in stride and saying, well, we've been here before, whether it's the tariffs or this or that, Federal Reserve and the solvency or the independence of the Federal Reserve? Is this just the same messenger, just different subject, and we keep things moving? And for all intents and purposes, that's what we saw this week.
All right, we come back. Jeremiah, a licensed advisor just like me. We're taking your phone calls, 979-59-MONEY. Have you had bad advice? Let's hear about it. This is Real Money Pros.
Businesses today face a barrage of challenges. They hunt for top talent, the search for the right benefits package, and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. And putting together the right team to run your HR-related tasks can be expensive, let alone time-consuming. Enter Ataraxis PEO, your professional employer organization ready to tackle all your HR needs from payroll to benefits administration, payroll services, workers' compensation, and talent recruiting. They've got you covered. With Ataraxis, you gain access to a team of experts who handle the nitty-gritty of HR, freeing you up to focus on what you do best, growing your business and growing your revenue. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. So say goodbye to the stress of HR administration and hello to Ataraxis. Experience the power of a true business partner with Ataraxis PEO. Visit ataraxispeo.com. That's ATARAXISPEO.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
Looking to make your dream of home ownership a reality? Look no further than Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender. Academy strives to offer the best rates and terms tailored to your financial situation. At Academy Mortgage, you'll be treated like family, not just another file. Navigating today's ever-changing housing market can be challenging, but their team is here to help. Experience the zero-down options, including loans with no mortgage insurance. They also provide specialized medical professional loans and unique 2-to-1 rate buydowns that reduce your monthly payment for the first initial years of your loan. And forget about dealing with brokers and middlemen. With Academy Mortgage, everything happens in-house, from origination to funding. Say goodbye to hassles and surprises. Begin your home ownership journey today by visiting them online at academymortgage.com. That's academymortgage.com.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deidre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Back to the Real Money Pros.
And we are back. This is Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. That's how you can find us. What we want you to do. So you're thinking, well, what's in it for Jeremiah and Brian? What's their conflicted advice on this program? Our conflict is that we want more advertising dollars and we want more people following this program. And the more that happens, then the better we do. But during the week, we're financial advisors. Jeremiah has got a full book of business. He's got a full calendar, maybe some room for somebody, the right people. But we have a team, and that team also has an open calendar. We've got 4 advisors that are actually at our location, our office, but through our network with the pollen, we've got hundreds. And so we're able to connect people to the right ones. So that's what's in it for us. There's the conflict. Go to therealmoneypros.com. You want to do what kind of tests do we have right now on the RMP website?
Well, it's really, mostly around the Better Bucket system. And we've talked about this before multiple times on the program. And it's that foundation framework for you to understand if and how to invest your money. And regardless of what stage, if we want to call it that, where you're at, where you are well outside of retirement, you're delaying gratification, net saving, how do you approach those dollars? You're nearing retirement, you see it right on the horizon. How do you start structuring things to make sure things are ordered in the proper order? Because now you're going to start making that transition to a decumulation phase, which is normal, meaning for most retirees, that's kind of how it should be, meaning you've saved up your nest egg to start cracking that thing open, cooking it on the grill, and having some tasty meals out of it, right? Or if you're squarely in retirement, how do you make sure it lasts? How are you looking at legacy planning? That's kind of the base foundation. Obviously, things branch out from that. We're talking about tax efficiencies. When we talk about the estate plan, when we talk about the protection side of things, it's not about what you earn, it's about what you keep, right? A lot of risk. There's a lot of concerns out there, which you could deem as risks. I think a lot of people pigeonhole themselves into putting themselves into a certain classification of investor. And our industry has done a great job for so long slating that as risk tolerance. And that's usually in the form of some simple questionnaire of, okay, if you had this number and then that number went down to this number, how would you feel? And based on that response, then that's going to determine the path in your investments. I completely disagree with that. I think there needs to be a more thought out, strategic approach, looking at all of the moving parts in your financial picture and get an understanding of, okay, how do things coordinate and how do these operate? So again, to answer your question directly, Brian, that is like the main tool that we currently have. But also it's how you interact with us. Meaning if we have great questions that come through the website throughout every week and great calls during the program where there's some detailed questions. Specific, like last week, we had great conversations around Social Security. We had great questions around, hey, I had a side gig. I was performing a service. I went to one tax preparer, and they said that even because it was one client, that I can't deem this as a business. I have to book that income as like investment income, which was completely wrong, by the way. So again, this covers kind of high level of all the things that we're talking about, and all those things are important. And that's where you can get that base introduction and start to get the wheels moving. Because again, I've said this before, I'll say it again, there's just a better way to do these types of things, and that's what we've really built the website around.
Do you have a photographic memory?
No.
You don't?
No.
See, and I do. And I don't know what level or anything like that, but it's like, for example, if I'm driving around, I actually, in my mind, I actually see the map. Like when I'm driving in some direction, and I've got a really good sense of north, west, south, all that stuff, of being able to figure that out. And so the photographic memory for me also means that that's my learning method. My learning method is solidified by visuals. And so if I had the buckets when I was first learning how to become an advisor, I would have been a better one faster. If I had the buckets as a brand new investor, I would have been a successful investor much sooner. And the idea of the better buckets is the visual aspect of seeing it. Why? Because this isn't just you jam some money into a bucket, but you calculate your scenario to put the right amount of money into each one of the buckets, and it supports a certain purpose. So everything solves for you. And then once you learn how to use it, it tells you how to do the investments themselves. We want your questions. Bring them to us here on the program. 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639. All right. Or go to therealmoneypros.com. We've got Brian calling out of Florence, California. Brian, what can we do for you?
Hi. Good morning.
Hi.
Love your show.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking my call.
Outstanding.
All right.
Thank you.
My questions to you are, I've hired a financial advisor. They're charging me 0.79% for my, as part of my overall amount that I have with them. And, I've been doing some Googling, and the question is, are there hidden fees that are above and beyond that 0.79 that I don't even know about, that I'm being charged for? Can you give me kind of some general recommendations on how someone like me that is curious about fees, how do you find out if there's more? How transparent are people in your position to tell us that?
Ask them. And if you ask them, they have to tell you the truth. And if you discovered anything other than the truth, then now you're starting to deal with fraud. And so you can ask them. They should be able to come down to the exact number that you're paying to include investment fees that are lying inside of, say, a mutual fund or an exchange-traded fund, or transaction fees. They may have accounts maintenance fees. There could be IRA fees. They could be various fees. Just ask them, and it should tell you. Secondly, their contract. The contract should spell out everything potentially that they may charge you in your account. And then another one is to look inside your investments themselves. Do you have a statement handy, Brian? Or do you know any of your investments by symbol?
Actually, I do. If I'm running to my room to get it, thank you.
Yeah.
For your
Yeah,
patience.
this is great. Yeah, we can give you a pretty good idea. So 0.79, for those of you that don't know, that's charged against the account balance. And if it's charged quarterly, then they take the account balance and they multiply it times 0.079. No, 0.79.
Well, take basically take 0.79, divide that by the number of billing periods. So if it's quarterly, take that number, divide it by 4, and then whatever your account balance is in that quarter, that's that multiplier, right? So
think about it. So that calculation, the next quarter, if it's a bigger account balance, then the advisor he's making a little bit more. She's making a little bit more with their fees when the account balance is going up. So there is something in it for them to see the values go up. But then no advisor wants to build a great book of business, getting a steady income, and then have the market suddenly plunge and all their income goes down as much as the client accounts, let's say 30%. So it designs in some level of what they're going to add their risk tolerance to it a little bit as well. And so will the advisory company. They may limit those advice. Now, Brian, did you find the statement?
Yeah, I'm looking at a statement, and the only thing that I see is something called a management fee.
Yep.
And I guess I don't see anything else. And let me add to that. I actually asked my CFP about this, and he said it was 0.79, but then he said all-in fee is like another 0.1, 0.1 or something, making it maybe 0.8.
Yeah.
So, but then I was Googling, and then, there's stuff like, let me throw some terms out that I saw on ChatGPT, things like 12B-1 fees.
Oh, yes. Okay. We have to take a break right now, Brian.
Ratios.
Brian, we're going to take a quick break. Will you just give us one of the symbols that exists inside your account? Give us one
of the symbols?
Yeah,
one of the investments.
Okay, let's see. Okay, Baker Hughes Company.
Okay, we're going to take a look at that. You own the stock. We'll be right back.
As we age, managing our finances can become increasingly complex with ever-changing tax laws, estate planning, insurance needs, and investment environments. At Apollon Wealth Management, their goal is simple: to help enrich your life with personalized, expert financial advice. With a nationwide network of advisors, they're committed to delivering the best solutions for your financial future. It's time to take control and get the guidance you deserve. Connect with an advisor today by visiting The Real Money Pros. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Did you have a tax strategy going into this year to help maximize your tax savings? I'm Jeremiah Bates with Tree City Advisors of Apollon. We consider key factors like required minimum distributions, Social Security, net unrealized appreciation, 1031 exchanges, and more. Because a good advisor should help you with more than just investment selection. Visit us today at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. Ends 5/28. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something, and imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not somebody else's, and the day that you can leave your broker because you know how to do things on your own. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes or complicated financial issues from your past. We help you organize all your financial pieces into something manageable. We're a fiduciary-only firm, and we design simple strategies. And we teach you how it all works without clutter, confusion, or high cost. We can either do your investments for you or we can teach you how to do them on your own. In the end, we empower you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. Welcome to Tree City Advisors. This is the way we think a financial advisor should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors, we provide flat fee planning and training. We also offer full service asset management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Tree City Advisors is an SEC registered investment advisor.
You're listening to the Real Money Pros.
And we're back. This is the Real Money Pros. Jeremiah Bates, Brian Wiley. We are live. Fiduciary Financial Advisors here for you. Phone lines are open. 979-59-MONEY. It is 979-596-6639.
So continuing the phone call with Brian. And Brian, you're still there?
Yeah, I'm going to bring him on right now.
Oh, here you go.
Yep, there he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had all kinds of mutes going on there at the beginning. So, yeah, Brian, so you came up with Baker Hughes Company, which is a stock. And if you were to buy the stock, now traditionally we used to buy a stock and pay a commission to get access to be able to purchase the stock. Hence the reason why we had the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange and their transaction fees that ultimately Scottrade decided that they were going to get rid of, and it changed everything. So we don't generally have transaction fees any longer. And so to acquire Baker Hughes, the theory is that you could acquire it with no cost, and then you just own that stock and there's no internal fees of it. And if somebody makes those choices for you, then charging 0.79 is it's reasonably low, actually, I would say, for depending on the amount of money that they're managing. Is the amount of money over $1 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it still less than $5 million?
Yes.
Okay. 0.80 is probably competitive. Just from an advisory standpoint, if it's full service, they're giving you tax advice. They're working probably with trading discretion inside your account. Do they make the decisions and portfolio advice and then apply it?
Yeah, they do all that. Let me throw in something. The reason, and this Baker Hughes, like I talked to another financial advisor, and there's an A in front of the Baker Hughes stock. And this other advisor was insinuating that because it's an A, the financial advisor company is maybe getting a commission and, some other stuff. It's an A versus a B or a C. They're getting into stuff that's way above my pay grade. But I don't know. Should I worry about that stuff? Or can I trust that the advisor is only charging me 0.79, as you stated, to buy this stock, or is there hidden fees when they buy this stock when it's a letter A? I know we're getting into the weeds here, but that's one of the things that came up in a discussion I had.
Yeah, Brian, great question. Now, the answer is yes, but I'm going to put a little asterisk next to that. For that Baker Hughes, the fact that it is an individual stock, not that classification like an A share, a B share, or a C share, which I'll get to, not applicable for an individual stock. But those are certainly important things to know when we are changing gears to mutual funds. So we're talking about a fund that holds a basket of stocks, and this is why mutual funds get a bad rap, and justifiably so, because you could have A shares, right, where you have the A, and that essentially means that you or whoever invested into that mutual fund paid a sales charge, generally speaking, on just acquiring that mutual fund. You have B shares, which they charge a back-end sales charge, meaning if you don't hold on to that specific mutual fund for a period of time, then you pay a higher fee, and generally the longer you hold it, you're slowly tiered down to the fees of getting out of that. And then, of course, there's C shares, and then there's other type of share classes that don't have loads or they have lower expense ratios. So when you're talking about individual stocks, not applicable. But to answer your question directly, are these things important to pay attention to? Absolutely, because when you're into that mutual fund space and you're dealing with someone that is eligible to receive a commission just by investing your dollars in that mutual fund, and that kind of brings us back to this whole point of that fiduciary standard.
Yeah. So, this stuff is way above my pay grade, like I said. Should I worry about it, or like you
Probably
said,
not.
do I just put my faith in that, they're doing the right thing when they're making all those transactions? I'm making money.
Yeah, both are kind of extremes here. So put your faith in, I'm sure, yeah, but you should probably still do your research. Worry about it? No, you should just got to alleviate that with research. And the answer is still research or asking questions of the advisor. I would like, if you want us to really take a second to look at it, well, then stay on. We're going to put you on hold. We'll get your number. We'll contact you. We'll take a look at your statements. We'd want at least 2 quarters of statements. And once we see those, then we can give you a really good idea of how he's moving it or how she's moving it and what it's in, what it's costing you, and we'd be able to look into it deeper. But do you have any symbols inside there that are of mutual funds or ETFs that are part of that portfolio, Brian?
Oh, my God. I don't even know. I'm looking at my statement. It's got, pages and pages of
it's confusion.
Stocks and stuff. I don't even know. To answer your question, I don't even know what. Would it say ETF?
Okay.
I'm a novice, man.
All right.
I'm not going to pretend like.
Brian, we could bring you into the light so easily, and we're going to teach you the better buckets, the whole bit. We could do this on a phone call. You can have a meeting with Jeremiah, Nick, any of us, and you will understand it. And I can promise you this: we can't make a lot of guarantees in our industry, but there's one thing I can guarantee is that you will learn something. And you will find out of that time something very meaningful for your level of knowledge. And you'll either feel better about your situation or you're going to feel maybe a little bit more uneasy, and you'll have an action plan or suggestions to go with it. That's what a fiduciary does. If we want to give somebody advice, we have to give them good advice. And we'll let you know, we're competing for your business at this point. But at some points, we'll say, no, your advisor's fine. You just need to ask them these questions. That's it.
Love that. Oh, and one last question, if I may, before I go. What's your take on hiring a CFP versus a IA or RIA? They're both. Yeah. CFP has. Let me get your take on that, because obviously the CFP has more degrees,
education,
so to speak.
Yep. They have more education, focused education on the planning operation itself, which is perfect for the advisor who is going to work as a fiduciary, because the CFP designation just says that they continued their education for it. Now, there's a lot of requirements to maintain the CFP designation as well. But then I have new advisors that have asked me, I'm 25 years into it, and they asked me, is it worth getting your CFP? And I said, well, it depends. If you're going to do it because you want to make sure that you're giving the best level fiduciary advice, then sure, add it to it. But if you're doing it thinking you're going to get clients and that CFP designation is going to attract them to you, you're going to be mistaken. That's what I tell them, that the way to go get clients is to go meet people, sit down with them, and get experience. And at some point, your level of experience might be reason enough for you to not go out and get the CFP, because it's the same thing as anything else in college, which is you learn the principles, you don't necessarily learn the practical applications that you see in everyday life. So I could give or take it. It really comes down to the advisor and what their motivations are, why they did it. And I know a lot of CFPs that can't get a client to save their lives. In fact, the only clients they seem to get are the ones that guys like us would refer them.
Well, are you CFPs or IAs?
That's a perfect question. Logical one too. No, my answer is no. I actually started the CFP study materials. I was about 5 years into my career and already saying that I was going to get rid of my Series 7. I was going through all the advisor all this stuff, just making sure I knew what I was doing. And my answer was, no, I'm not going to do it. I had several CFP buddies working in the same office, and I felt like their view was too clouded. And that's, if you really want to know personality-wise, I'm an artist that happens to be a financial advisor. And which is interesting it's a rare combination to have somebody that's good with numbers and also good with, doing something random, which is art. Well, I've applied that in my practice to the point where we needed the better buckets. That was the art part of it. The visual side of it is how I operate. And what we found is that the planning we do is solid planning. In fact, I've never had an advisor that's been part of my team ever have a claim against their fiduciary responsibilities not being taken. We've never had a complaint like that. We don't have any advisors with red dots. None of them, no suitability issues, none of that. And it's because we followed the better buckets. You as an investor will be a better investor if you know the buckets yourself. And even if your advisor doesn't use those buckets in their examples, you're going to be a better investor. And they're free. We're not charging you money for this stuff. We want to teach it to you, and we're going to teach it to you over the phone, evidently. So, Brian, stay on the line.
That's awesome.
Stay on the line, please.
Thank you,
we're going to
guys.
get your number. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how this meeting goes as well. We all have the same issue, and it's the same thing. You go to the doctor, and you think the doctor's there because you've got something wrong with your health, and they're going to have a fiduciary level advice, meaning if they're going to refer you off to another specialist, that there's, other than the appointment fee, they're getting nothing else out of it. Then lo and behold, you find out they're selling you the supplements, let's say your peptides and everything else is now going through them. And so that conflict in advice has been troubling for me. Jeremiah, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
just, you got to get, the conflict has to be removed.
Conflict to and then it also begs the question is like removing every inch of every conflict even possible. There's some arguments to that, right? But
you can't, because you still have to make an income. So we could say you're conflicted to try to get the client that you may not have the best skills for, right?
Indeed.
Or the best fit.
Indeed.
Well, that's why we have a network. That's what we do. That's the whole point of the Real Money Pros, is connecting you to actual fiduciary level advice. Just like when you call the phone lines right now, 979-59-MONEY. I got a question. Should we be paying up to $1 trillion for Greenland? We want your
Businesses
comments.
today face a barrage of challenges. They hunt for top talent, the search for the right benefits package, and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. And putting together the right team to run your HR-related tasks can be expensive, let alone time-consuming. Enter Ataraxis PEO, your professional employer organization ready to tackle all your HR needs, from payroll to benefits administration, payroll services, workers' compensation, and talent recruiting. They've got you covered. With Ataraxis, you gain access to a team of experts who handle the nitty-gritty of HR, freeing you up to focus on what you do best, growing your business and growing your revenue. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. So say goodbye to the stress of HR administration and hello to Ataraxis. Experience the power of a true business partner with Ataraxis PEO. Visit ataraxispeo.com. That's ATARAXISPEO.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deidre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
And we're back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. This is The Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. That's how you can find us. You can see us on YouTube. You can interact with us there on the Real Money Pros website with a chat feature, the whole bit. Or call the program at 979-59-MONEY. One last note, Brian. He had asked a question about the CFP. And because of a little of the artistry part of it, and I'll give you an example. I do a lot of woodworking, and I do creative woodworking stuff, and I watch videos on YouTube of people who actually know what they're doing, and they do a perfect job with it. And I get out into the garage, and I can't do anything now because everything I'm doing is I'm doing it wrong according to the right ways to do it. And it was the same case. The more education, all the stuff that I had specifically from the industry, a lot less of it seemed to apply to my clients. And I thought, you know what? I need my mind to be free when I go in here because I know taxes. I know estate planning. I know the investments. I understand people. I know people very well to the point where they may be screwing up these things just from their personality. I needed to make sure I connected to them that way. The visual part is the better buckets because that's the way I learned. And what I found out is that applies to any amount of net worth client, period, that we've ever had in all my career. Every single one of them, it works better than their situation that they typically are bringing to us in the first place. All right, we'll go back to the phone lines. Looks like West Coast is dominating this hour so far. Another one out of California. This is great. Let's talk to Mel. Mel, what can we do for you? Calling out of Los Angeles.
I'm calling you because I want to sell my property, and I want to know if capital gains are really going to hurt me, and I do not want to pay all the taxes.
Do you live in the property?
Yes.
Okay, how long have you lived in it?
32 years.
Okay, so the rule is 2 of the past 5 years. So are you married, Mel?
Yes, there's a dual relation. I mean, dual property here.
Yeah. Okay. So $500,000. You get $500,000 worth of gains without cost if you've lived in the house, because each of you gets $250,000. And so if you, how much do you think you'll sell the property for?
Let's round it up to $1 million.
Okay, and how much you pay for it?
$225,000.
And did you put any money in it in the last 33 years, such as capital improvements, new roof, things like that?
I spent on improvements about $200,000.
Okay, so your cost basis is about $450,000?
Yes.
Okay, and then you sell it for $1 million. That means your gains would be $550,000. And based on the scenario I just told you, the $500,000 is tax-free. The $50,000 would be long-term capital gains, and then you're going to add that into your tax situation, which from the top long-term capital gains rate, Jeremiah, is 15%, but you could get hit with the 3.7% on top of it, right?
Yeah, so you have the net investment income tax. But, Mel, really, so let's imagine you sold that house this year, right? And the numbers that you gave us are, in fact, legitimate. And the only amount of taxable gain you're actually going to have to pay taxes on, at least looking at these numbers, potentially $50,000. So now we look at how are capital gains taxed. What they're going to look at is your total taxable income. So let's just look at 2025. Do you have any idea for 2025 where your taxable income is going to be? Close counts.
The taxable income will be about $48,000.
$48,000. So now So now you take, let's just assume that amount of money is going to be your taxable income for 2026. Again, I'm assuming you're selling this property this year. So you take that $48,000, add in that $50,000, and now you're looking at a capital gains of it's going to be pretty muted. I'll put it that way. Like you're not looking at a terrible tax bogey that you're going to run into from the standpoint of we're looking at that $500,000 121 exclusion, which is going to offset $500,000 of taxable of gains off of the sale of that property. Obviously, you had some capital improvements. You have your filing status and you have your taxable income. All those are going to be taken into consideration to determine how much capital gains tax you actually pay on that. But let's just imagine at most, you're paying 15% long-term capital gains tax on that $50,000. At most, you're looking at about $7,500 on the Fed side of that you would have to pay to the Fed for that great return on investment.
And then Gavin Newsom takes the rest for the state of California. So that's just the way it goes.
Any money.
Yeah, so if those are roughly the numbers you're using, I think you can apply those and really try to figure out exactly where you are. Are you working with an accountant?
Yes, and I'm going to have another question when you're done with that one.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, always you can have the conversation with your accountant. Your accountant might know something that you don't about your situation, or may have you time it within a certain year, looking at things that are coming up, because you might have retirement coming up at some point. Are you going to leave the state?
Okay, that's what I was
asking you.
Yes,
I'm asking you. Are you
going
to? You will leave the state? Now, consider this, too. If you sell the house before June 30th of this year, well, then you didn't live in it for the whole year. Then you would move to a different state. You're going to have an income tax return from the other state, and it may change the tax situation and how it gets taxed on the long-term capital gains portion. California has some really special hooks about that, though. So, again, conversation with the CPA. What's the other question?
The other question was, I'm leaving California, going to another state, Arizona, Nevada, or Texas, one of the three. Do I keep the property, rent it, buy a new property, borrow money on this?
Oh, and now you're talking.
Keep all my.
Now you're talking.
Keep
the investment. Absolutely, you should be considering that. It really comes down to how are you going to acquire property in your destination state, and then how are you going to pay for it, and do you need the down payment money, and then you look at debt on your property, servicing the debt, and so on, and just seeing if it becomes profitable. Then compare that to what you could take the same amount of money for and invest that. And in fact, it sits in the income bucket, the middle bucket that we talk about with Better Buckets, and we want to be able to show that to you. Will you go to our website and at least watch that? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to get me a margin loan on the property.
Okay.
I have ETFs. I have investments. That I want to borrow money to buy the other property. But if I keep this, and I can borrow money to buy a new property in whatever state I end up at. But the question is, should I keep the asset that I own now and not sell it, rent it instead?
Hey, maybe. Absolutely. We like tax deferral. We like step up in basis. We like these estate planning components that get added into this, the tax part of it, the strategic part of it of when to do it. What state do you go to? The answer is, I don't know.
the answer everyone loves, like, it depends. Like, at Mel, it's like, especially when you're talking about property, it's like, should you hold on to it, turn it into a rental, receive that income? Hey, it's one of those, it's like that cliche saying, there's no solutions, it's just trade-offs. That is a trade-off where, hey, do you want to maintain a footprint in that state, collect income in that state, and play a landlord? I got a lot of clients that don't like the idea of that. So you want to look at the ROI, return on investment, but also the return on your time. And sometimes managing a single family rental property is more of a headache than what you are getting on as a return. And also, you got to understand that the 121 exclusion, those tax-free gains that you're looking at as far as selling your primary residence, that's only if you fall under that primary residence category, which is two out of the past 5 years. So if you leave that property and you turn it into investment, that tax efficiency, that could go out the window. I think you need to take that into the calculus and also look at the opportunity costs, right? Not to use jargony terms, but okay, if you gotta compare selling that property, gain those tax-free gains, and maybe you look finding an alternative investment to stock those dollars away in, and maybe it's in the state because the cap rates are going to be better, meaning covering your entry costs versus the return that you're going to get on the rent, and you're closer to home, no pun intended, that could be a better option.
Great. I don't want to hold your time. You're on the radio. I don't know if I'm going to be able to listen to this conversation on the radio because it's not live right now.
No, we podcast. We podcast. And by the way, Mel, we're going to put you on hold. We'll get your phone number. We'll help you make this decision. Right. You're not alone. We can do it. We're going to do it the Real Money Pros way.
On the 121 exclusion.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it all. It's all good stuff. And if we're really lucky, you'll even call the program back in a few weeks and tell us what the results were. Thanks for the call. Certainly appreciate it. Stay online. We're going to get your number, Mel, and we're going to get to the next caller because we're coming up on the end of the hour. But let's go right to Phil calling out of Boise. He's got a simple question, and I know I can answer it before we break.
Oh, no.
Phil, what's the question? Is he there? Well, I know the question. He says, how does a DoorDash driver get taxed? $10.99 NEC. If you drive for them, you're paying your own.
The Real Money Pros is hosted by Brian Wiley and other team members of Tree City Advisors of Apollon. Tree City Advisors of Apollon is a DBA of Apollon Wealth Management, an SEC-registered investment advisor and affiliate of the Real Money Pros. The Real Money Pros and Tree City of Apollon are not affiliated with any of the companies or non-advisor professionals participating on this program. Ataraxis PE and Apollon Wealth Management are financial sponsors of the Real Money Pros. Additionally, Apollon receives advisory fees for these sponsors and or their representatives for investment advice. Log into therealmoneypros.com to contact the host for advice, show archives, educational material, and more. This program is brought to you by the quality sponsors heard within this broadcast.
Businesses today face a barrage of challenges. They hunt for top talent, the search for the right benefits package, and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. Ataraxis partners with businesses of all sizes and industries. Their mission? To reduce the stress and risk that comes with business owners trying to do it themselves. Visit ataraxispeo.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
Apollon Wealth Management has helped me and my team change the way we conduct our advisory business. The result? We believe we are better equipped to provide the highest level of quality financial planning, investment management, and comprehensive financial advice than ever before. Apollon has been instrumental in our efforts to assist clients in achieving their distinctive financial objectives. If you're an advisor seeking to improve your client experience or an investor seeking to elevate your wealth management to a higher personal standard, contact us at The Real Money Pros. That's therealmoneypros.com. Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something. Imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not your investment professionals. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes and complicated financial issues from your past, empowering you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. We design simple, effective investment strategies, and we teach you how it can all work without clutter, confusion, or high costs. Welcome to Tree City Advisors of Apollon. This is the way we think of financial advisors should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors of Apollon, we provide flat fee financial planning and training. We also offer full service asset-based investment management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. Visit treecityadvisors.com. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Are you in the market to buy a house or just looking to refinance your current mortgage? For helping individuals and families achieve affordable homeownership, Academy Mortgage is a first choice. And when finding that perfect loan for the perfect home, you need a company that will treat you like family, not just another file. To help you navigate through today's ever-changing housing market, Academy Mortgage has zero down options available to you. That includes zero down with no mortgage insurance. We also offer medical professional loans and 2-1 rate buy-downs that help lower your monthly payment for the first several years of your loan. loan. Origination, processing, underwriting, and closing and funding will all happen in-house. With over 34 years in the business, we know that buying a home is more than just a house. That's why it's important we protect our customers and safeguard their financial wellness for years to come. Visit us online at academymortgage.com today to start your journey to homeownership with Academy Mortgage. That's academymortgage.com. Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
To offer valuable advice and earn clients' trust as an advisor, it's essential to always put their interests ahead of personal gain or the preferences of any particular company. Advisor Insurance Solutions is dedicated to delivering insurance solutions from an advisory perspective. They provide objective and unbiased insurance planning, making it an integral part of their comprehensive advisory process. If you're looking for insurance guidance that aligns with your financial goals, visit therealmoneypros.com. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut-rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Running out of gift ideas for your loved one? Send flowers with Flower Fix. A need to create joy in your living or workspace? With many working from home these days, create joy in your space with flowers. Flower Fix is a subscription-based flower delivery service perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, or any special occasion. We offer 2 subscription options to choose from, a text-based subscription or a traditional one. Enjoy these big, beautiful hand-designed bouquets that are delivered straight from our flower fields to your door. Log on now, www.flowerfix.com, to choose your flowers today. Have control over when you want flowers delivered. Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Get your flower fix at flowerfix.com. Use code FlowerFixPro to receive 20% off your first order. flowerfix.com.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deidre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Healthcare expenses can be a burden, so why not make the most out of the money that we'd spend anyway? Take advantage of the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, a health savings account, also known as an HSA. That's why you need Lively. Visit Lively right away. Open your HSA, roll other HSA money into that new plan, and then start saving. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Gallegos with Price for Life. Do you have a life insurance policy that you'd like to sell? If you don't need the coverage anymore or would rather not keep making the premium payments, visit our website, priceforlife.com. Don't let your policy lapse when you can potentially get a cash payment for it. There are several reasons why a life settlement might be a great value to you. Perhaps your policy is too expensive, or you feel you no longer need the death benefit, or you may think you need to wait until death before your family can get the money from the insurance company. This is why you may want to consider a life settlement. Price for Life has excellent resources available along with a free evaluation process to help you understand the value of your policy and the options available to you. Price for Life's clients have received hundreds of thousands of dollars for their policy when they would have otherwise just let it lapse by stopping the premium payments. Get the compensation you deserve. Price, the number 4, life.com. Priceforlife.com.
The Real Money Pros is brought to you by The Real Money Pros and the sponsors heard within this broadcast. Material presented on this program may not be suitable for you. Consult a registered investment advisor when evaluating any particular investment, security, or investment strategy. The views, opinions, or advice offered by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect those of this station. Brian Wiley and Jeremiah Bates are investment advisor representatives with Apollon Wealth Management, an SEC registered investment advisor. The Real Money Pros with Brian Wiley and Jeremiah Bates, the weekend's smartest money show. Investing, taxes, legal topics, insurance, and every other confusing money topic made simple.
We are back. This is The Real Money Pros, hour number 2 of our 2-hour live program. Jeremiah Bates, joined with Brian Wiley. We are fiduciary financial advisors. If you missed the previous hour, you can go to therealmoneypros.com. One of the best ways to interact with us. It's where you can take our Better Buckets assessment, interactive tools that are there for you. You can contact the show. If you have questions, we will have answers. You will get a response by one of the fiduciary advisors on our team, and our team runs deep. We have a great network of advisors throughout the country. So if you want to find a great advisor that can double check what you're doing or maybe help you see the forest behind the trees, as it were, that's where you can get in contact. Again, that is therealmoneypros.com. We are live. Call us. Interact with us. You have questions, we'll get you an answer. 979-59-MONEY. That is 979-596-6639. 6639. Brian, great callers last hour. I mean, we kind of covered a whole gamut of, taxation from property sales. What things should I pay attention to as far as that A next to the symbol, that mutual fund that I have? What does it mean? All great questions, and all are applicable. I mean, you got to take that zoomed out lens and see how all these pieces coordinate together. I know one question that we didn't get to before we had to go up against that hard break. We did our best. Was local caller, how am I taxed essentially as a DoorDash driver? And simple answer is, Brian, you nailed it right before we went on the break, is 1099. You're classified as self-employed. So any income that you receive through DoorDash is going to issue a 1099 NEC, which basically is going to show your gross income that you got from because again, you're a sole proprietor, you're self-employed now. It's just going to give you the gross amount, like, hey, what is the total amount that you earned from your DoorDash activities? And that's going to be represented on that tax document. So it's the question isn't necessarily, in my opinion, how am I taxed? It's just, how are you receiving your income? And from DoorDash, you're receiving your income as a self-employed 1099 independent contractor. Now we translate into how are you going to be taxed? Well, you're going to have some expenses for doing business. Your gas, your mileage, car. I mean, I'm sure there's a long list of legitimate write-offs that you can do to reduce that actual taxable number from you working for DoorDash.
You're a self-employed person is really what it comes down to. So I'm still kind of laughing about how I tried to take that phone call in the last hour. And I got to tell you, here's my justification, which is we were rolling up. It was like 56 minutes after. And I know the poor caller's got to hang on there for almost 9 or 10 minutes if we're going to do the end of the hour break and then they're on hold. I'm thinking, I can get this one answered really quick. We went a little long on the prior phone call. Okay, now I also understand how really that sounds on the other end of it, which is you get cut off right in the middle of giving somebody the answer. I'm sorry about that, and I won't do that again. Josh is an awesome producer. He's like, you got to end before the segment ends. I'm like, for 25 years, I don't think he's the only producer that's had to tell me that. And so I'm sorry. I understand it because his job is to produce a great show. But garbage in, garbage out. You got to know what you got. Look at the garbage right here talking. And so you just got to work with it sometimes. Kidding about that. 979-59-MONEY. I did have an overarching question that last hour. We just didn't really get to it, which is it worth it for the United States to buy Greenland? Do you support it? Now, 150 years ago, roughly, we bought Alaska, and Alaska was a purchase from Russia. Russia really didn't need that land. It was on the other side of a sea, the Bering Strait, and they just didn't have the population or really desire to keep it, so we bought it cheap. Now, Greenland seems to be it's a continent or island, whatever you want to call it, a territory of Denmark who is refusing to give it up. Now, I don't know if the pricing could be moved up, if it's got to be $1 trillion. From what I understand, the estimates are somewhere about $700 billion is likely to be the amount that President Trump is offering. But should it be moved? The phone lines are open, 979-59-MONEY. And then how do you suggest we go about it? I was kind of complaining about this the other night, Jeremiah, after we went in for Venezuela. Then I said, what's next? Are we going to go after Greenland? That soon became a comment from President Trump saying that we're going to go after Greenland. And he said the military option is not off the table. And that's where I was complaining. I think I had a friend nearby, and he's like, yeah, he's off to the left, though. So I was really just now feeding him by complaining about it. And he's going off and off. And I said, no, listen. My point is if we want it bad enough, we have to figure out the price we're willing to pay for it, and then find out whether or not it's still going to be available to us at that price. If it's not, if you want it bad enough, you're going to move your price up again. This is the way that capitalism works. But if we go in for it after that, military-wise, or do we break up NATO as a cause of it? Do we now tariff the 8 opposing states that are saying no, the countries that are saying no to this, and we add a tariff to it? Are we doing it the right way? Is the purpose good enough for you as a taxpayer to say, yeah, this is good? Call us, 979-59-MONEY, or money questions, just not DoorDash questions. Sorry about that one. I was trying to help the guy out, try to get the answer to you. The answer is, yeah, you're self-employed. It's the same thing with the Uber and the Lyft drivers and any of those. It's this gig economy. The gig economy has created that you're probably not doing it full time. And so you want to be able to control your expenses, maximize your profits. You're going to be careful about how you file, depending on how much income you're getting out of it. But 1099 is where it's going to start. You're probably going to carry it onto your Schedule C on your tax return. And then you're going to pay both sides of the self-employment tax, which would be the amount of 15.3% to cover FICA taxes, your Medicare, and your Social Security taxes. And then you're going to add whatever amount you made in net expenses to your income, and you'll pay income taxes on that. So that's how they are taxed.
Yeah, but
tips, on the other hand, maybe not.
Maybe.
But make sure you keep the log on that.
Yeah, make sure you log it. That's ultimately it. It's Stephanie Helms, the Stewart Helms CPA last week. She gave some good insight into these. These are good questions. Like, hey, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Devil's in the details. There's phase out amounts. There's things that you need to pay attention to. There's some business classifications that they're kind of excluded from that tip designation. Meaning, Brian, you and I can't solicit our clients for tips, put out the old tip jar, collect that, and then fall in line of potentially not paying taxes on that. But again, as the door driver side or the DoorDash, I would say, yeah, you get you write off your expenses, get the net number, don't pay more in taxes than what you need to. You're going to pay a little bit of self-employment taxes. If this is the first year, let's say 2025 was the first year that you've done it, yeah, it may make your tax filing a little bit more timely. You had a few more steps. You might have to pay for that. If you're self-preparing, pay for the business filer, which might cost you a few more bucks, so pay attention to that. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a net profit, which will be deemed as earned income, and that's going to give you the ability to stock some money away if you have that liquidity on hand, meaning you can do a traditional IRA, Roth IRA. So it's not too dissimilar than what you're normally doing through a W-2 paying job, but instead a lot of those categories already being checked or those boxes being checked just by getting your W-2 and putting that info in there, you got to take some extra steps on that tax return to fill that out for the self-employment tax.
The problem is that the policy of enforcing it is literally regressive in its design, meaning the people who are not likely to spend time trying to focus on taxes or maximizing what they or minimizing the amount of money that they pay, they won't have the time, they won't have the fortitude to do it. And so, but the headlines were really nice. The headlines were taxes are now not taxes income, or tips are not taxes income. And turns out, well, that's kind of true, mostly true, but it's onerous on the person who is going to be dealing with it on their tax return. So here's one exclusion. Most people don't know this on the taxes or when it comes to tips. If the tip is included, like a large table gratuity of automatic 18%, that's not included. If let's say you're a DoorDash driver, I don't know if they do this. If your grocery order is more than $300, do they have a set amount of a tip? If it is, I would assume that also cannot be included as a free tip from income taxes. That's the other question that I would have with people, which is, should we be making any income completely tax-free? We're talking about special interests. See, special interest is what divided up our tax code to become the mess that it is right now. And the special interest here is obviously for people in a side gig economy to be able to take their tips and not have to, I guess, make their tax return worse. But the process of proving it actually makes it worse. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, and to kind of again on this tip conversation, I mean, let's just imagine that you're a server, you earn $20,000 in tips in 2025, and again, you worked in a qualifying occupation where you get to write off essentially or deduct those tips. And again, your adjusted gross income, your gross income needs to be below the phase out. So let's imagine you check all those three of those boxes. You can deduct up to $20,000 from that federal taxable income, but you still got to pay Social Security and Medicare. This is the Real Money Pros. We'll be right back.
Make this year that you work smarter, not harder with Ataraxis. As your strategic partner, Ataraxis becomes an extension of your business, taking the burden of HR, payroll, benefits, workers' compensation, compliance, and staffing off your plate. You'll have more time to focus on operating and growing your business. Let Ataraxis handle the details so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at ataraxis.com. That's ATARAXIS.com.
As we age, managing our finances can become increasingly complex with ever-changing tax laws, estate planning, insurance needs, and investment environments. At Apollon Wealth Management, their goal is simple: to help enrich your life with personalized, expert financial advice. With a nationwide network of advisors, they're committed to delivering the best solutions for your financial future. It's time to take control and get the guidance you deserve. Connect with an advisor today by visiting The Real Money Pros. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Looking to make your dream of home ownership a reality? Look no further than Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender. Academy strives to offer the best rates and terms tailored to your financial situation. At Academy Mortgage, you'll be treated like family, not just another file. Navigating today's ever-changing housing market can be challenging, but their team is here to help. Experience the zero-down options, including loans with no mortgage insurance. They also provide specialized medical professional loans and unique 2-to-1 rate buydowns that reduce your monthly payment for the first initial years of your loan. And forget about dealing with brokers and middlemen. With Academy Mortgage, everything happens in-house, from origination to funding. Say goodbye to hassles and surprises. Begin your home ownership journey today by visiting them online at academymortgage.com. That's academymortgage.com.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
This open enrollment, start making meaningful progress towards your long-term financial goals. Did you know that a health savings account, or HSA, is the most tax-advantaged account in the U.S.? Contributions are tax deductible, which reduces your total taxable income. Withdrawals for eligible health expenses are also tax-free. And last, capital gains on investments are also tax-free. Did we also mention that it's free for individuals? Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/pro.
And now, back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. This is the Real Money Pros. Let's join with Brian Wiley, Fiduciary Financial Advisors. Visit therealmoneypros.com. It's where you can interact with us. It's where you can see our great sponsors. We are a sponsor-driven program. We're here to give education. We're here to give you good advice, fiduciary advice. There's not some secret product, some secret sauce, if you will, that is going to be the fix, the end-all, be-all. What's going to get you there is education and understanding. I'm pretty redundant with using terms, but I was doing a little reading this past week, and turns out that the redundancies are sometimes good. It really gets the message across. So again, this framework of a framework to work within when it comes to investing. I think that's a big question that is top of mind for a lot of people. It's like, how do I invest? I'm this age. I'm approaching retirement. I need to move all the cash. No, there's a better way to do this. Better bucket system. We've talked about this on the program. Let time be your guide. Time is the answer. Determining where your money's going to go based on tangible financial targets that have a timeline on them. That's the base case that can help you then lead into Roth conversions, tax efficiencies, the complex trust planning to make sure that those assets are squared away if you're above and beyond that estate taxation limit. How do we look at Delaware statutory trust and 1031 exchanges and all these items that I'm sure you've seen at some point if you're paying attention to those things? That's where you can go to therealmoneypros.com, get exposure to that, and obviously if you have questions, send them our way. We are live. This is the second hour of our 2-hour live program, which, Brian, I'm sure you agree, feel fortunate that we have the ability to broadcast on Saturdays. I get some clients, because again, meet with hundreds, if not thousands of clients. I'm a real practicing and financial advisor with the book of business. They always ask me that. They're like, you work that much and you do the radio show? I'm like, it's great. And I'm going to tell you, there's, the older you get, there's these things in life that invoke certain emotions and certain feelings. And I got to tell you, doing a live radio broadcast, it gets that adrenaline pumping. It makes sure that you have to be prepared. You need to be thoughtful and come up with new creative ways to come to, maybe some people feel these are boring topics. So bottom line is enjoy it, and you should not feel mad or angry after listening to this program. We want you to think about things. We want you to maybe, again, a redundant term, see the forest behind the tree that's staring right in front of you.
That's the myopic view. And as you get older, you get more of it, by the way. You can only see what's right directly, kind of close to your face, but not too close,
That's
by the
where
way.
you put your readers
more
on.
than arm's length. I bought a selfie stick so I can read my text. I don't actually use to take photos, Just my arms aren't long enough any longer. 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639. President Trump wants to buy Greenland. And because they don't want to accept the offer that he has right now, there are 8 nations, from what I understand, part of the EU, and they are opposing it, and he's now saying 10% tariff on goods coming from those countries, which is that a tax on us, or does it just make the prices on their things higher for us, or does that actually apply and work? You decide, but share your comments with us here on the program without getting too political, or we can. We're not gonna. We still want to talk about money because the economics of it is another thing. Let's imagine we could buy the entire continent of Greenland for $1 trillion. How do we get our money back out of it? Can we afford, as taxpayers, another $1 trillion added to our debt because this is money that would be owed? And is it worthwhile? And how would you evaluate that? And I would think that you would just look at it just like a business model or just like a financial plan, which is, all right, you put away this amount of money. This is what it's going to get us, our purpose, and then when? And so if we thought, well, we're going to have minerals or whatever that we might extract from Greenland to pay us back so we can put all these air bases out there, well, then fine. If it's going to take 10 or 15, 20 years, then could we have done better with $1 trillion, or is that the best investment? And hopefully somebody's looking at it from that standpoint. The military part, I don't know. Man, I can't get behind that one right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I think most people would probably agree that that's you're not walking out on a limb. I think that's a reasonable look of probably not the best, especially from an optics standpoint, to do a military intervention to go acquire Greenland. And it begs the question. I mean, is it strategic geography? I mean, is it vital to the interests of the United States?
Apparently it is.
In the long term, that maybe we acquire or control Greenland before rivals do. And if that is legitimate, then there could be an argument that this is a good approach. I think, I'll put it this way. My standpoint is the non-military avenue. If we can get it done, people are happy with the end result, so be it. But sometimes it's not that easy.
Are the Danes actually saying no, that we cannot continue to put air bases out there or military installations? Because I would imagine we could make a deal saying we'll protect the island. It's our island from a military standpoint, but your island from an ownership standpoint. Or is it mostly because we're worried about the Danish people would want us out after 20 years if we continue to get under the skin of the rest of the world?
Yeah, and this question too, like if the United States takes over control, like what does that actually mean to the citizens of there's a little bit of disconnect for me there.
Yeah, do they become U.S. citizens, or does this look like a Northern Mariana Island type of a thing, or Puerto Rico, or does this become a gosh, what are all the? Do you know that the United States has more than, I think it's 600 military bases not on the United States soil?
Did not know that.
You might want to Google that one. I should probably get closer to accuracy on that one. But I did look at it not too long ago. But can you think of any military bases from other nations that are on U.S. soil?
No.
Well, I can't anyway. I know that some
I'm gonna say
have
not,
space, but I don't think that they have ownership of land control. I mean, look what we've got out in Cuba. We've got a Guantanamo Bay. We control that land. We took it. It's ours. They may not come over there without asking. And it's an interesting situation. How does this fit investment-wise? We talked about the Venezuela issue, which is oil. This should benefit oil. We heard the oil executives literally the day after our broadcast. I think President Trump was meeting with several of them, one of which had said, there's no way you can make that work. The infrastructure is too far gone. We can't profit off of it. And I'm thinking that's kind of the perfect answer, actually, for the oil services companies, because no matter who goes and cleans it up, they're going to be needed. We talked about this before, which is the shovels aspect. And the shovels idea is that you supply the shovels, not actually be the gold digger or the one out there looking for the gold, the prospector. Same thing with oil. Do you want to be with the oil companies or the ones that can work with any oil company, to include Venezuelan companies for that matters, going out there fixing their gear? And I would think from an investment standpoint, that's where we all need to start to fit. My friend who was asking about XRP and this meteoric rise he was expecting to happen on January 1, it was completely wrong from bad advice. And we go back into the conversation, which is, well, what is it that you're trying to do? Like, why are you even looking at XRP? Because he's also told me, and I know more about his personal budget, and he struggles. And I said, but this is you're just prolonging getting it together. When you're trying to swing for the fences, you're striking out so much that you need to focus on the ball and be happy with a walk or maybe just a first base. And you'll get around the bases. But once you actually do that training, you're better suited than later. If you're ever going to be swinging for the fences, do it after you have a lot of knowledge and experience. Otherwise, right now, it's just a rookie. When I first was teaching somebody how to snow ski, we all wear helmets. I mean, everybody that I know that skis, we all wear helmets for protection, obviously. But the beginners tend to say, no, I don't need one of those, because I think they feel like they're dorky or whatever it is, when in fact they're the ones that need them most. 979-59-MONEY. This is Real Money Pros. What do you think about the purchase of Greenland? We'll be right back.
Apollon Wealth Management has transformed the way our team delivers financial advice. With their support, we're more equipped and more empowered than ever to provide top-tier financial planning, investment management, and personalized financial guidance. Apollon has been a key partner in helping us achieve our clients' unique financial goals. Whether you're an advisor looking to enhance your client experience or an investor ready to take your wealth management to the next level, reach out today to the Real Money Pros by visiting therealmoneypros.com. Let's elevate your financial future today.
I'm Nick Daniels with Tree City Advisors of Apollon. My team and I help our clients implement tax-smart strategies because taxes are one of the largest headwinds your investments face. We use strategies like Roth conversions, 1031 exchanges, and more because a good advisor should help you with more than just investment selection. Visit us today at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
Begin your home ownership journey today. Look no further than Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender. And forget about dealing with brokers and middlemen. With Academy Mortgage, everything happens in-house, from origination to funding. Say goodbye to hassles and surprises. Their team of seasoned professionals will be with you every step of the way. That's academymortgage.com. Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something, and imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not somebody else's, and the day that you can leave your broker because you know how to do things on your own. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes or complicated financial issues from your past. We help you organize all your financial pieces into something manageable. We're a fiduciary-only firm, and we design simple strategies. And we teach you how it all works without clutter, confusion, or high cost. We can either do your investments for you or we can teach you how to do them on your own. In the end, we empower you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. Welcome to Tree City Advisors. This is the way we think a financial advisor should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors, we provide flat fee planning and training. We also offer full service asset management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Tree City Advisors is an SEC registered investment advisor.
You're listening to the Real Money Pros.
And we're back. This is the Real Money Pros. Jeremiah Bates, Brian Wiley. Every Saturday here for 2 hours. It's fun. Brian calls it the radio hamster reel, as it were. Brian, you've been broadcasting for what, over 2 decades now?
Yeah, about 25 years actually. And it was last month that we have our local market, which is News Talk KBOI out of Boise, Idaho. And I was doing the program on a Monday nights. You know, I enjoy doing it, but I've been doing weeknight programming for 25 years. So all 25 years, a string of weeknight programming. It used to be 5 nights a week, cut it down to 1 night. And for some reason, that show is just such a bear. I get on there with the producer. He's like, so what are your plans next year? And I said, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, no, with the show. And I said, well, I don't know. What are the options? And he says, well, you even want to do it anymore? And then he goes, you're on the air in 10 seconds. And I get on the air, and I right then decided that was my last Monday night show of all of it. And so I finished with that. I really enjoyed doing it, but it was the repetition like you just talked about, where you're talking about redundancy. I felt like I was talking about the same things over and over and over again for 25 years. And now I'm watching you do it, and I see the energy, and I love it. I also like the fresh ideas, and the fact is that the investment world has changed to the point where you need the viewpoint of somebody younger than you. This is what I was telling my clients during these 25 years, which is hire somebody younger than you. I know it's hard sometimes to trust somebody and you don't think they've got the life experience, but you want somebody still in their business when you are retired. That's the case with estate planning. Well, that's also your investment advice. If you're not talking about cryptocurrencies and AI, then you're just probably talking to some other old fella that doesn't actually have the energy to go out there and do it. So from the conversation standpoint, the problem I had with weekend shows is that most are selling you a product or a service, so you're listening to an infomercial. And you're also usually not listening to something live, and you're probably talking about something where the sponsors are themselves. And so we're not. The Real Money Pros was, how do I get the program onto weekends? There used to be several great weekend hosts. Rick Edelman, Bob Brinker, each of which I admire and I thought were giving great advice. But here's what I do know, Jeremiah. During those 25 years when I was getting callers and weeknights and then practicing during the day, is that I honed my skills. I've taught every advisor everything I know. We understand all of it. It's not just what the markets are doing or what the investment translation is going to be, but instead we're going to coordinate taxes and estate planning, and we're going to look at actual personal habits, your personal habits. And to me, this is the best design for a weekend financial talk show that needs the energy that you've got, the rest of the team has, our network of advisors so our promises are made good, our sponsors are all approved by us, meaning we won't take a sponsor that we would not use in a client situation. Because my client situations, Jeremiah's, all of ours are as fiduciaries, meaning is it in their best interest? That is a high standard. Their best interest for that. And whether it's going to go through an arbitration panel or somebody suing somebody or if it's a regulator, that is in fact a rule. And if that's the case, then our sponsors, we feel, are probably in your best interest if what they offer applies in your scenario. That's it. Then we get to know you. 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639. And so I clearly admire my team more than probably anybody would know. And I also trust the talent moving forward. And this one is, it's like what I was saying about Josh says that I have to give him 5 seconds. Well, dang it, that's what Josh is paid for. And that's what his role is on the team, even at the risk of calling out the boss and telling him how to do his job. That is exactly how I've learned to delegate. So for those of you that own small businesses, if you want an advisor that knows small businesses, that's us, because that's all I've owned. That's all I've ever owned. And I work with small business owners. And one piece of advice that I give to every person that manages people or owns a business, which is if you give somebody the responsibility of a position, there's roles, there's things they've got to do, then they must have the authority that goes along with those responsibilities. If you give them only authority or only responsibility, then you have got half of the employee's capabilities working for you. The other part of it is it gives them ownership in the business, and it helps them understand how to make decisions, to critically think about things before they make a decision, and then experientially, if they can actually mess up, they will learn by their mistakes. So that has been a very powerful thing. Well, we also translate that into our client experiences, which is we're showing you what you're responsible for. We're going to teach you to have the authority for it. So then if you decide to not do it, you understood the full role of what you're hiring somebody else to do. Unlike how Brian, who called the program in the last hour, was saying he really didn't understand exactly how his advisor was getting paid, how much, what they were doing for him. And I think that that is a fundamental flaw, or in this case, on Brian's side, maybe bad management. That's all there is to it, which is here's how you got to manage your manager. You say, what are you doing for me? How much am I paying you? And show me exactly what you're doing. I don't want to, cut around to anything like that. Just show me. I want the numbers to add up. And then great. I like it. You got the responsibility, you got the authority, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's that advisor-client relationship. I mean, I've seen it a lot of times where it starts out as, it's a golfing buddy type thing, or, but then it can quickly evolve to where you might need a level up of sophistication. And I'll be the first one to say that never am I in a position to want to try and steal someone from a good advisor, someone who's legitimately doing a good job. I think in our ecosystem of fiduciary advisors that, hey, if you're doing a good job, tip of the hat, because I've seen people do a really bad job and people be predators. And yeah, you can guarantee that we're going to do our best to get you away from those, but sometimes it's just asking the question, right? And this is something that pops up a lot, especially when it comes to taxes, is, I've been working with this person for so long and they're just really not coming up with the ideas. Like, well, I know it would sound great where every tax professional would be able to carve out time and they are always looking at this little nuanced tax thing that's going to keep money in your pocket, but that's just generally not the case. But that doesn't mean that you can be your own advocate, come with questions or get some counsel for maybe an advisor to say, hey, here's the game plan. Here's what we're seeing. We're not going to execute it. We'll educate you, but bring this to your tax counsel and see what they say and see if it's actually be able to integrate. Because the solution, especially in the tax world, isn't just, okay, go find another tax professional, because you just might end up in the same spot, but starting from square one. And especially with all these tax changes, and you have this aging population, and you don't have the upkeep or the feeder system, where I know this is maybe a good question for Cooper, Brian. Your son, he just graduated college, but I doubt he has it top of mind to go be a tax professional or a CPA and stare at spreadsheets. I just don't think that sounds like a
no. He's got too much of a
path.
personality. He's too nice and got too much of a personality. I'm kidding about that, but there's a little truth about that. When I was starting the CFP training, I had to go to classes, and now you're around people that are also getting their CFP. I met this one who ultimately ended up getting a CFP. He also had his MBA, and he had his JD. He was an attorney. Now he's trying to get a CFP, and I'm asking him, like, what are you doing? Did you just love school or what? He's like, well, just the more I know, the better I'll do. And we ended up hanging out enough that I learned that basically he was a failing advisor from a client standpoint. He just couldn't get any clients. And I figured out pretty quick why. He was so dry and so within the four corners of just being square that, and then I was hearing his own viewpoint on his personal budget, because he didn't make much money, and how tight they lived, and how they went grocery shopping and were buying bulk foods, and he was just mastering the challenge of low budget, and he was just so proud about it. And I started asking him, like, how do you invest your clients and so on, and it was all wrong. He was doing it with annuities and things like that. And I know now, when I really take a step back, I can see this, which is he trained himself out of risk taking completely, to the point where he was allowing complete safety to be the guideline, because he also didn't have the gall to answer to a client's questions, to be able to be questioned. Maybe at times, to be, hey, why are we invested in this? And somebody doubting him. And so he didn't want to get himself into that position. And this is where I'm going to say he overtrained. And what is it? Paralysis by analysis. Exactly. A perfect example of it. And well, it turns out every other single person in that room had the same disease, in my opinion, which is none of these people are going to be able to get clients. They're all too dry. The application of this information it's going to be misapplied, is what it is. And you know what? I'm done with it. I went back to work, and I sat in front of people. And the one thing that you're talking about, especially Better Buckets, really is designed for this, which is, you think, well, there's no formula that's going to work for everybody. You're right. This is the start of how to develop your formula. And you do it by, let's break this down to the first thing, which is, what's the objective? And then once we know the objective, we're going to put a price on it. We're going to put a timeline on it. And that tells us everything to get started. But then we're going to look at the idiosyncrasies of each individual person. And then they work. 979-59-MONEY. If you had bad advice, tell us about it. Should we buy Greenland? Like to hear that too. We'll be right back.
All right.
Package and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. And putting together the right team to run your HR-related tasks can be expensive, let alone time-consuming. Enter Ataraxis PEO, your professional employer organization ready to tackle all your HR needs, from payroll to benefits administration, payroll services, workers' compensation, and talent recruiting. They've got you covered. With Ataraxis, you gain access to a team of experts who handle the nitty-gritty of HR, freeing you up to focus on what you do best, growing your business and growing your revenue. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. So say goodbye to the stress of HR administration and hello to Ataraxis. Experience the power of a true business partner with Ataraxis PEO. Visit ataraxispeo.com. That's ATARAXISPEO.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
Have you ever met with a financial advisor looking for some advice just to leave being sold an annuity you didn't want? At Tree City Advisors of Apollon, we do things a bit differently. We focus on your financial goals, helping you fix past mistakes, simplify your current finances, and plan for the future with confidence. Your first consultation is always free and without obligation. Visit TreeCityAdvisors.com and start your journey to financial freedom now. That's TreeCityAdvisors.com.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
Back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. This is the Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. Interact with us. Join the newsletter, please. Again, we're after followers. We want more listeners. We want people to tell us about how the Better Buckets systems works or ask questions about them. We want this. It helps us get better advertisers and more of them. Jeremiah is going to make billions of dollars just from advertising, right? I said it last week, almost like I shouldn't have said it the way I did, which I said, I don't want to be an advisor anymore. I just want to do this. Well, there's some truth to that on my side. I've been doing it for 25 years, meeting with clients. I like doing it, and I see lots of different situations, and I see the nuances and the opportunities and things like that, but I can do more here on the air. I can talk to many more people and give you the ideas that I have noticed worked. Now, Jeremiah came in as the most eager advisor. This is more than a decade ago. And when I met him, I felt like, man, this guy really acts like he wants to learn it. And he was the biggest sponge. And I remember when you first started taking client meetings, Jeremiah, your confidence at the very beginning, I know note-taking and things like that, but your confidence was good. I didn't wait for you to say that you were comfortable taking some client new. I remember saying, you need to take this one, and then you leave your door cracked open and things like that. But see, we all do this. Every single one of us will do this, which is, one is you want to prove your credibility. And so you might espouse some views or some knowledge, some things they may not know, and that's how you're going to prove yourself to them. But in the end, the person sitting on the other side of the table, in my opinion, came to me because they had questions, concerns, whatever it might be. They had a purpose, and my first thing that I've got to do is sit and listen. And it's really hard when you feel like you need to be proving yourself to them, to actually be quiet and let them just talk and ask them questions that will lead into a better understanding of who they are and what matters to them. Because the formula for the algorithm, the better bucket system, is we just got to get to the point of the conversation that we know where they're going to fit in these buckets. And as soon as we get that, it is time to stand up as the advisor and show them. But until then, you sit. I've got a friend that just started in the property and casualty insurance business, and she's asking me a lot of questions, I think great questions. And I told her, I said, get the basics of the knowledge down, but then stop going out being worried that you're going to go sit in front of a client and not know the answer to their question, and that's going to be so discrediting. Like, get the basics down, and one of the most powerful thing an advisor, a doctor, a professional, an attorney, anybody can say to one of your questions is, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but I know it matters to you, so I'm going to find out. And in the process, I'm going to be able to apply that to somebody else in the future. That is the advisor I want. It's the advisor I want to work with. It's the advisor I want to be a client with, is the one that is willing to go find out the answers, not fall in the lazy spot of saying, no, that doesn't apply to you, or no, we're not talking about taxes. Well, does it matter to them? If it matters to them, you go find out. I read a book years and years ago, Jeremiah, is called Just Give Them the Pickle. I forgot who the author is. But I do know that the story was about it was an owner of a bunch of small chain restaurants where one of the features of their burgers that they would sell with fries or whatever it was is they gave a pickle. And at one point, after growth happened, he became separated from the management level. And those managers at individual stores, they had decided that if people want another pickle, they were going to have to pay for it. Well, he had a customer write some long review. It was sent directly to the owner. And he said, I'm really disappointed. For years, I've come in here, and one of the features is like dessert. I get a pickle. And this time I got a small one. So I asked for a second one. They wanted me to pay for it. And so the owner's answer is just give them the pickle. Like, what's the cost of the pickle to keep a client happy? You just give them the pickle. It matters to them. And what matters to us is that we keep the client. So this one is easy. Just give them the pickle. As an advisor goes, it's the same thing. Just have the conversation. Learn about their family and their kids and what matters to them. Find out about their estate planning and their insurance. And what ended up happening is that we created the most well-rounded advisor that I have ever been exposed to. The ones who have learned the knowledge by then seeing it with one client household, it mattered to them to now learn about it, then go apply it to someone else, and then to teach it. That is the foundations of this program. And so same thing with the financial advice that we give on a professional level. It is built on the same principles, which is let's learn about the clients. My first college focus, well, not first, my final, next to final was marketing. And so marketing was natural. I remember taking those classes marketing instructors talking about, how your eyes will read across a headline left to right and Z formation, all these other things. And aside from those, I learned nothing in marketing classes. It is personal relationships in how to understand somebody's needs and then fill them. That's marketing. It really is, which is how do you target and then what's going to become appealing to them and then the action step. Marketing is easy. Finance, now on the other hand, was something I really had to focus on and learn it. But really, you want an advisor who understands you. So I'm suggesting that. The Better Bucket system is a tool. Your money is a tool. Your fear and your greed is a result of a lack of understanding of something that is going to happen in the future that causes that fear. Uncertainty is, again, easy to solve by figuring out what does it matter, and then should I even be concerned about it? Does it apply to you? And then you'll understand the risks and the rewards, and you don't want to get to the point where you do nothing. And that is, in fact, probably the result of most people is they do nothing, but they're the ones that are just like my friend caught in the XRP question, which is this the next greatest thing that's going to create instant wealth and fix all of my past idiosyncrasies? And even if it does, it won't. Even if it hit like he thought, he will soon be back in the same spot he's always been in his life because his habits need correction. And it doesn't need to be said like that, but that's the fact. You got to correct the habits. In most cases, you just have to explain the why and what it's going to do in the end. That's it. So visual approach. That's what the Better Buckets are. They're free to you. Go to therealmoneypros.com, interact with our team, call this program, 979-59-MONEY. All right, Jeremiah, I didn't hear any comments about the Greenland purchase offer.
No callers. I guess just like the market this week, they may just kind of shrugging it off and saying, well, it's kind of a nothing burger at this point. And who knows? It could be one of those things where it's the sensationalism, the rhetoric, so to speak, of heightened language and this urgency, and maybe it does fall in the lines of maybe there is some level of compromise where United States does get some type of presence there, and it's not in the form of under USA control. Who knows? I think at this point, too close to call, but I can guarantee that it'll continue. The headlines will continue. But I do find it interesting that the market, which you could argue is a good barometer to these headlines and these uncertainties, where if the market's acting in line with that, then yeah, we can kind of see where at least Wall Street's thinking, where big money's thinking. And we just didn't see that this week. And I wonder if that is more in line to same story. We've seen this before. We kind of have an idea of these various ways that this could play out. But ultimately, we're going to lean on earnings, potential GDP growth, the market. There's a lot of market pundits out there that are still calling for double-digit growth this year, which is interesting when you look at the AI and you're starting to see this whole AI narrative, but you're seeing a bit of a rebound. You're seeing the Dow Jones being the outperforming index. Again, we're in the infancy of 2026, so take this with a grain of salt. But I do think that'll likely be a theme throughout 2026, at least from an investment standpoint, that maybe it's not technology that is the end-all, be-all. We start to see a broadening out of these maybe underperforming asset classes or sectors where they start to be a beneficiary of this economic growth. You're going to likely see a boon of tax refunds this season. I think it's projected to 1.5, I think maybe 150 to 200 billion or million? Could be mistaken on that number.
More than millions.
Yeah.
Where billions
that could spur some economic activity. So again, these are all things that are shrouding around, but what does this ultimately come back to? You. What is important to you? What helps you get to your desired outcome? And that's what we're here for. Education, having that advice, and not being stuck in no person's land of not making a decision. Not a good place to be. And it's funny when we talk about that. Sometimes you think of that as, if this is a make or break decision. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's you got a large cash inheritance and you're just sitting there because you literally have no idea what to do with it. There's speed limits for a reason. But guess what? If you go too slow, you're impeding traffic. Still legal. This is the Real Money Pros. We'll see you next weekend.